Yeah.
Look, I know this isn't gonna make any sense.
Stop global warming?
I feel like I'm losing my mind.
You sneaky little biatch. Happy birthday.
I've already lived through this day. Somebody's gonna kill me tonight. So you can hear now.
Is everything okay?
Shut up! Shut up! Shut up!
Assuming that I believe any of this is even possible.
Sprinklers, car alarm.
The way I see it, you have unlimited amount of lives. Unlimited opportunities to solve your own murder.
So I'm supposed to keep dying until I figure out who my killer is?
Welcome to the latest episode of the podcast that wouldn't die. I'm your host, Kevin. With me, as always, is Aaron.
Hello.
This week, we'll be discussing the horror classic Happy Death Day, starring anybody?
Anybody? Yeah.
They're all young and attractive people. I'm sure that they're, very
Starring
successful.
young and attractive people. There you go.
That's all you need to know, frankly.
And when did this movie come out?
2017.
And have these people then ever done anything else? Because maybe I just don't know. Maybe I'm not down with the cool hip kids.
The main actress, I think I saw her on a Hallmark Christmas thing. I think.
I'm never sure if Hallmark is a step above or below going right to soap operas. Or is it a lateral?
I think it's a lateral. It's a lateral. I think that's what we can come up with. No, they were people who kind of looked like more successful people. Like they were like somebody's cousin. And we're going to talk about, there's actually truth to some of this we're going to discuss later in this. Now, had you ever heard of this movie at all?
I had not, which is interesting because horror movies are usually on my radar. But usually I tend to see, good ones.
Well, interestingly enough, this movie, I remember seeing the trailers for it when it first came out, but it totally did not stick in my mind. It was just something lost in the shuffle. I thought it was just a forgotten movie until 2 years later, the sequel came out.
I saw that. Now,
Happy Death Day to You.
Now, I have to say, this was pretty good.
It's not bad. It's not bad.
It's a fun little romp. It might have been more enjoyable than actual Groundhog Day. But if only there could have been a Bill Murray cameo, that would have been the little maraschino cherry right on the top.
Well, give us your 30-second summary of Happy Death Day.
All right, here's my 30-second. It is Groundhog Day. This chick gets murdered by a killer with a baby face, and it's Groundhog Day.
He has a mask on.
Oh,
he has a baby face mask. It's not just his face is childlike.
That is correct, my friend. It's a weird baby mask, I should say. But it's one of those things where she just keeps getting killed till she solves it. And then, meanwhile, we discover that she's a bitch because she does not have love in her life. Either that or her bitchiness was cured by D. So we're not sure.
Well, she was really a bad person. It was that same kind of Groundhog Day thing where the central character is really irredeemable. And over the course of the movie, learn how to be a productive member of society.
Irredeemable? Is that taken from some past trauma where a popular girl was mean to you? Or is that where that's coming from?
Yes.
Because it's Mean Girls, but not that mean. She's just kind of bitchy.
That's basically what it is.
But she's not poisoning puppies or kicking babies or anything.
You're right. But neither was Phil Connors in Groundhog Day. They weren't murderers or psychopaths. They were just assholes.
They're just kind of dicks. Yeah, exactly. You'd steer clear. They're dicks.
I think she is not kind of a dick. She's like a dick. She's a serious, because it's like the first moment we meet her, she's waking up in some rando's apartment.
Right.
And is kind of a jerk to him right out of the gate. You know what I mean? And then it's like she's doing the walk of shame across campus, giving people the finger. She meets some other dude who is, I've been texting you and you haven't been returning my text. She's like, we went out once.
No. She had a valid point. Don't be blowing up my phone after the great Subway date.
No, but that's fine.
I felt that was totally legitimate. I was like, yeah, piss off.
You're forgetting the crucial line. She's like, you took me to Subway, and it's not like you got a foot long.
So they boned.
Drop the hammer on him.
So they boned anyway. There you go. So she's as loose as a goose. Well, you know what she is. She's a guy. That's what it is.
She is. No question. Because it's later in the movie, she was like making out with some other random dude at the party, and then went home with this guy.
Right.
And
in a sense,
she's as loose as a goose.
She's a frat boy, but because she's a chick, that get like so dramatic that she needs redemption.
Right. That's basically what it is. Well, because later in the movie, they're like, well, let's make a list of people who might want to kill you. And very quickly, the guy's like, okay, well, this is hopeless. It's too many people. She's like, that Uber driver I spit on.
I like that. The Uber driver I spit on.
And there's like, when she goes into her sorority house every day, there's like the little sweet Asian girl who waves at her when she walks in. And every day, she's like literally giving her the finger. Like, I know you're waving at me and smiling at me, but I could give two shits about you. I'm gonna
out
kick
there
you
listening to your K-pop and
right,
yeah.
I understand. She's a bitch. Is basically what it comes down to. I mean, her friend bakes her a cupcake at the beginning of the movie and says, "Here, I forgot it's your birthday. Here's your cupcake," and she's like, "Sorry, carbs," and throws it in the trash right in front of her. Now, that turned out to be a good move.
Yeah,
but
in retrospect.
At the time, not a good move. That's all I'm saying. Maybe she's been the type
all I
to
can
say
tell you
thank
is I really liked it, and I was refreshed by it. I thought it was going to be more of your nonsense movies. But the very end was a little hokey fanokey. It kind of killed it for me.
I agree. Well, because it's always like when you reveal the killer and they tell you their reason, the reason is always nonsense. The reason is always like, seems like an overreaction.
Mm-hmm. You're like, what? You're like,
right.
What? That was
right.
It?
So, I mean, the grand reveal, spoiler alert, if you haven't seen the movie, it's revealed that the killer was her roommate, her disgruntled roommate. And the reason, because they established that earlier, that Tree, who's the main character, Tree Gelbman, she was having an affair with their teacher, their professor, who's also a doctor at the hospital.
Their doctor, basically. Professor, whatever they are they all pre-med or what's happening there?
We're supposed to think that. So she was having an affair with her professor, who was married, and I guess her roommate had always been in love with the professor.
Yawn.
And the professor always chooses you. The professor always chooses you. And she literally says, "That's why you've been trying to kill me? Over some guy?"
Exactly.
And she's
over
like,
some dude who's already married and who gives a and he's not even hot.
He's handsome in kind of a British way. No,
he's handsome in a kind of a way that a guy might think another guy is handsome, but in reality, as a woman, no.
I don't know what that means, but okay. Well, then she's like, "That's why you wanted to kill me?" And her response was, "Well, it was that, and also because you're a dumb bitch."
Yeah, so that was stupid.
Right.
That was just stupid. That is it?
That was it, right. Because I guess the idea is you have to make her so that multiple people could be the suspect. If she's like Mother Teresa walking through singing songs and birds are landing on her shoulder, then it's a question of who'd want to kill her. But if she's a bitch to everybody, then it could be the guy she blew off at the party.
She's not dumb. I mean, it just was a stupid thing to say because clearly you may not like her, but she's no ding dong.
You could have just said you're a bitch.
Yeah.
She's not a dumb bitch.
No.
That's true. She's pre-med, although she drops the class later.
And quite frankly, the chick saying all this looks like she's some fundamentalist. Isn't she supposed to be at the Advent College? Because she's dressed like one of those people. Super conservative, no makeup, and now she's never swears the whole time. Now suddenly, because you're a dumb bitch. I was like, what?
I think she was getting ready to go on her shift because she was like...
But she looked like that. She was like wearing scrubs 24/7.
24/7. That's her move. Oh God. So she's a lousy person. I mean, the guy that she hooks up with, Carter, which is, it's revealed that even though she woke up in his bedroom, they actually didn't do anything. He was being a gentleman. Took her back to his room, put him in his bed, and he had to sleep in his roommate's bed.
So he's a hero because he didn't rape her while she was unconscious.
Yes,
that's a thing.
I think we have to give credit while credit is due.
That's right. I mean, because most people would just be rape, but because you decided to withhold, all right. Oh my God, is this what it's come down to? It's like you got to give men like a participation trophy just so they don't murder you. Is that what it's come to?
Hey, if I do the dishes, I expect my wife to roll out the red carpet and the marching band and the dancing girls. Okay?
I guess so. And by dancing girls, you mean what? Her bazoompas?
Moving on.
No, but
Jesus.
seriously. But seriously, folks, that's really what it's down to. You did a shitty job doing the dishes, but as women, we still need to pet you and go, good job. Your heart was there. And thanks for not raping Thanks for not raping the babysitter. Good job.
Is that too much to ask for? Okay. A little kindness doesn't cost anything.
All right.
Is what I'm saying.
A lot of hurt coming out today at our...
A lot of hurt. They also established that her sorority is also filled with those crazy mean girls. There's a scene which is cringy where the head of her sorority, they're having a mandatory meeting in the middle of the quad, Danielle, and they're talking about what kind of what am I trying to say? What are they going to do for a charity? What charity function are they going to do this year? And Danielle says, I don't want to do the special needs arts fair again because that was creepy. Well, that is awful.
Of course it's awful. That's why they did it. I will tell you, from being in a sorority, that usually there's a national charity. You don't have all that. And at least when I was in college, the sexist thing was they always show all these parties, but the sororities were never allowed to have alcohol.
Right. They'd go to the
frat houses, let people pee on their floor and vomit it up, and we go back to a nice, clean place.
That's just expected. It's standard. Oh, and then Danielle, because I guess the other sorority girl named Becky, who rolls in late to the meeting with a tray full of food and gets shamed by Danielle in front of everybody.
And quite frankly, she had like soup, so I don't even know. It wasn't like she was with a Philly cheesesteak or something.
Well, she said, and is that chocolate milk I see?
We don't do dairy, man.
How dare
you?
Oh, and then that Carter walks up because he's trying to give Tree back her bracelet.
Well, which I took note of. I'm sorry. I'm in a drunken stupor rolling around in someone's twin bed, but I have the forethought to remove all my jewelry before I pass out.
I think he got her ready for bed, is what I think.
Well, because we don't take off our jewelry when we're in that stupor. So, yeah, so you're saying, so now we're getting back to rapey. So
this is serious business.
She's sleeping in her bra and her chonies. First of all, I would have left.
Borrowed a shirt of his. He folded up her jeans because he was afraid they'd wrinkle. He wasn't sure what fabric they were. There was a big
now I'm getting disturbed. He disrobed her. Is that what you're saying? And tucked her in?
That's what I'm saying. Or
did she just See, now I feel very uncomfortable. Now we're looking at some kind of a Brett Kavanaugh situation.
Carter's not the hero that we thought he was.
I was
ago.
like, what? And now
out.
I'm taking all her jewelry off, and her skin seemed a little rough, so I oiled her down. What else?
And we're just taking his word for it that nothing happened?
Wasn't that
right?
another show? They're like, nothing happened. And then when he was pissed, he was like, yeah, you were lousy. I think that was like, he was unconscious. Oh, dear Jesus.
Yeah. The truth comes out. It's a sad situation. So he's not really the hero.
That's right.
Okay, so the first night she's going off and crossing the creepy quad. I'll tell you what, I went to San Diego State. If you had a late class and you're walking across these college campuses at night, they are creepy. They are dark and shadowy.
For sure. My school is much more up north, so we get the fog coming in. So you just have street lamps. You think it was The Exorcist with that creepy street lamp with the fog rolling in. Right. And then there was always the story of the body that was found tucked in a tree or something. So you never know what the hell was going on up an old
tucked in the
Humboldt
tree.
State
of course,
University.
That's that old story. Yes. At San Diego State, they would say, you shouldn't be traveling alone by yourself, especially if you're a young female across the dark, huge campus at night. Don't do it.
We had all these little posts they put up. I don't know if you push the button, it would just start shrieking or what, but ain't nobody going to hear it.
It's too late. Right. If you're running for one of those posts,
it's already too late.
Okay, so I have to say, so there's these scenes where these people are going to the pep rally, I guess. The school, I looked it up, was called Bayfield University, and the mascot seemed to be
baby. Go Babies!
A baby?
That's so ridiculous. It was very amusing. I mean, I'm so sick of these nationalistic, the Patriots, the Pissheads, the whatever. And why not?
I don't remember that last one.
Santa Cruz was the Slugs. Go Slugs. We were the lumberjack, the lucky logger.
Right. Well, the lucky logger. There's no question that there are some questionable mascots out there: the banana slugs, the anteaters, etc., etc.
What was yours? What was San Diego? What was San Diego State?
We were the racially insensitive Aztecs.
Oh, I'm sure they thought it was a great honor.
There you go.
Is Palm Springs High School still the Indians?
Still the Indians.
Because it's on Indian land and they don't care? First people.
In many cases, in many cases, it just depends on the native nations that are there, essentially, what their personal opinions are, if it's offensive to them. San Diego State, we had a mascot called Monty Montezuma. They had to get rid of that
that's
20
such
years
a...
ago.
Monty Montezuma.
You know, it can't be anything that's offensive, and I support that.
If I remember, Palm Springs High School, it wasn't a weird caricature. It was like a proud-looking gentleman,
right? Well, and we had a large Native American population, so it wasn't seen as some kind of offensive caricature. Anyway, we're getting off the topic here. Point being is, no school on earth would say we're going to choose the babies.
I love that. I kind of love
that.
Like having you just have like this angry. Your mascot is just like a kind of a big fat guy in a diaper.
That's basically what it was. Okay, so moving away from that, and what they would sell at the pep rally, evidently, with all their spirit gear, you know, the big hands and the sweaters and blah blah blah, were these
giant
masks,
like a moon face,
masks.
a giant like circular head.
Yes, Baby Huey kind of baby face. Now, on occasion, I guess hardcore tailgaters would wear masks in the real world, but I can't envision crazy baby masks are flying off the shelves.
No, because it interferes with the drinking.
When you can't see, it's like, it's a whole freak show.
Hence,
although the baby mouth was open just large enough that you guys could shove a long neck bottle.
I'm just fascinated by the fact that we didn't see anybody walking by with Depends. I think that'd be hysterical.
Get back into life.
Let me just tell you, I went to this party once. So all the guys decided they were just going to Depends. So they wouldn't have to.
Right.
And when I say Depends, I meant only Depends. So they wouldn't have to keep going back and forth. But then in the end, everybody just became 2p shy.
This is taking a dark turn.
We wanted to put it to practice, see how it would go. But in the end, everybody just sat around and they became uncomfortable. I was like, oh.
Who'd want to do that? What kind of game is
this? Not a game. It was just
far
the
more
party
disturbing.
Costume. Maybe for your maybe for your 50th. We'll get the last case of Zima and a case of Depends.
That's
and it's awesome. Some
Good
Switzer
time.
sweets, and away we go.
That's all you need. That's all you need. There was another scene that made me laugh. The beginning of the movie, and it was always that chick Danielle from the sorority house. She had these zingers that just made me laugh. That made me laugh out loud. At one point, she's like borrowing Tree's like blouse or whatever for the big party. And she's like, yeah, I won't get anything on it. I was afraid to get mixed nutter butter on it or something along those lines. It was a turn. Oh, God. Oh.
Yeah, she had all the good lines.
It was a horror show. She had all the good lines because she was basically your stereotypical mean girl sorority girl.
Non-redeemable.
Tree was totally non-redeemable. Tree had some of those, but she as the movie progressed, she became more kind of brooding and worried, obviously, because the killer out to get her. Were there any other scenes you wanted to talk about?
Oh my God! Well,
there were many.
Quite frankly, at one point, she thinks it's the serial killer that is actually trying to get her. Because at first I couldn't figure this out because the killer seemed to have magical properties. How was it getting into places? Like she'd search a room and then it would still be there.
Yes.
The what?
Right.
But at one point
she was hammering close the windows or whatever of her dorm room, and the killer still managed to magically appear in the bathroom.
After she already searched the bathroom, which made no sense to me. I started getting irritated at that point. But at one point, so she thinks it's a serial killer. So the serial killer killed her once. So she goes back with her plan. And this is where she thinks she's won the day. But I don't know how... Like, she goes in there before the serial killer wakes up, puts a knife to the security guard's throat, takes his gun, and says, go get help. And then goes in there, has an altercation with the serial killer, and ends up blowing him away. All right? And then the next scene, she's having cupcakes with her boyfriend. I'm sorry. My whole thing was, you're in jail because now they think you're a psycho who just murdered this dude because there's no evidence that of what you're saying. So the fact that she was in the next scene having cupcakes, I was like, what?
Yes. Right. We're not even... There's one thing where you wake up the next day and there's no repercussions because it's Groundhog Day. It's another where it's the same evening. You've just taken a police officer's gun by force and murdered a man, as far as they know, in cold blood. You're not just going back and chilling and having a cupcake with your new boyfriend. That is absolutely...
You're like,
that as
what?
well.
You're in jail for being a psycho.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. Well, what's interesting is once you break down the killer's convoluted plot... It makes no GD sense. It's basically this. Her roommate's pissed, so she poisons a cupcake and tries to give it to her, but she doesn't eat it because she's a bitch. And she doesn't eat carbs.
Okay, first of all, a young person dies for no apparent reason. They're going to do an autopsy.
Of course!
The only thing in her belly, because she's anorexic, is an old cupcake. Yeah.
Right, with rat poison in it. Yeah. Nice work. We don't need Quincy to solve this murder, basically.
Nothing like a good Quincy reference.
Nothing like good Quincy reference. So the serial killer was at the hospital for totally unrelated reasons. Like he was chained up, he was getting a surgical procedure, something along those lines. The real murderer, was going to kill her wearing the baby mask and the knife and all that stuff, but then make it look like the serial killer
First of all, why did she have to be in a costume anyway?
Right.
Very good question. Because I kept trying to look at the serial killer to tell, because they tried to make it so you couldn't tell if it was male or female. They kind of padded it up. Right. And the little killer was for sure quick as hell. So, you really couldn't tell by the form at all. So it really could have been anybody, but not somebody tall.
Well, and the other thing is that the serial killer's MO was not wearing a baby mask. That was just something she kind of improvised so that she could wear a mask to chase a tree around campus, I guess, because there were other people wearing masks.
So why does there need to be a mask when you're just going to kill her?
I guess if she gets away... Right? If you try to kill somebody and they escape, they can identify you, I guess.
It just seems like it would be a lot easier to try to figure out some way to make it look like an accident than mono a mono. I mean, it has to be difficult to kill someone. I mean, you have to have a certain level of physical strength.
To kill them with a knife, to get in close... Yeah,
you're either going to surprise them so they don't fight back, or you got to be willing to fight. Right.
So these are important questions to ask. Later in the movie, and during one of the days, it's revealed that the real killer, because he works at the hospital, goes into the serial killer's room, puts the mask on him, and frees him from his bonds. Because I guess so he's out and about and running wild while she kills
I think
the
that was supposed to be some kind of, the red herring or some kind of, what do they call that? The old switcheroozy. So people just assume. Yeah.
Right. They would just assume
I was trying to figure that out. Was she whispering, go find this girl or something? But no, he was just loose, so they would blame it on her.
Right. The one time that she gets attacked by I guess it's maybe 2 times she gets attacked. Because I guess he's just a psycho. And if he's released from his bonds and you're there, he's going to try to kill you. There's the one time he escapes from his room. Maybe it's a couple times, actually, that the actual serial killer is the one who actually does.
I don't even think he does. I think he's totally unrelated.
Well, there's a scene where he pops out of the room and stabs the doctor from behind and then chases her. I'm trying to remember what occurs there. There's the other scene where she now knows that the killer's in there, or the serial killer's in there, and she sneaks in there and sees the body on the floor, and then he pops up behind her with the knife. And then finally she goes in with the gun and tries to shoot him, but she doesn't know how to use a gun, so he's able to get the gun from her.
But I think that's all in the hospital.
That will solve the problem.
So yes, I think anytime you see the serial killer, otherwise, it's the roommate.
Right. I think you're absolutely right. If it's the killer's in the hospital, then it's the serial killer, John Toombs. If it's on campus, then it's the roommate, Laurie Spengler.
He's just like a wild beast. So if you're there, he's going to kill you no matter what. He don't gives up.
Yes.
So, but the crazy roommate, because there are times when she's killing 2 or 3 people who just happen to be around while she's trying to kill this chick.
Who else did she kill?
That Danielle's boyfriend.
Yes, that's right.
Crazy.
It is crazy. In his pleasure dome, in his with the disco lights.
It was like Otter's.
Crazy new wave
it was
dance.
not Otter. Who's the guy from Animal House who was sleeping with Dean Wormer's wife? Was it Otter?
That was
like
Otter.
Otter's
that was
den
Otter.
with the leopard skin bedspread and disco lights and smooth jazz.
Oh yeah, you're right. She pops out of the closet, murders him.
Yeah,
and then
like
murders
easy
her.
peasy. It was like he just kind of stood there and let himself be stabbed while she's doing the high karate.
Right. She must be tough. She's strong.
She does Pilates. Her anger keeps her sharp. Her bitterness keeps her going.
No question. Any other wacky scenes you want to talk about?
I mean, it's a good show. It's a good show. I like the idea. I'm sure they were just sitting around having some beers, watching Groundhog Day. They're like, what if we tweak this and made it about murder? And then you just have to relive it till you solve the crime. But then there's a switcheroo at the end. Yeah, I like that because when she woke up again, I was like, oh, shit.
Right, because she just assumes halfway through the movie, if I solve the crime, if I figure out who's trying to murder me, then I can go on with my life,
she just
essentially.
Didn't do it until the very end.
Right. Well, so she murders the serial killer John Toombs with the gun.
And she murders him. I would say
and then she goes back.
She went there to kill him, even though he's totally unrelated.
Yes.
But in reality,
the
next day, when she wakes up again, because she's been poisoned by the cupcake, he's still alive again.
Right. She murders the serial killer, goes back to celebrate with her new boyfriend, Carter. And I guess she rifles the cupcake out of the trash. I don't know what she does. And she splits it. She splits it with Carter. And then it's next morning she wakes up and it hasn't changed. And that's when she figures out, oh, I ate that cupcake. This is kind of a leap of logic, by the way. Oh, that cupcake must have been poisoned.
Yeah. And you got that from...
Just because the day restarted again? What if it had nothing to do with the murder? What if there's some other thing you had to solve? You just wrongfully accused your roommate of being a murderer.
I guess that's taken care of the next day.
We never know.
When your roommate's just sick of you and pushes you out the window because you're so needy.
Right. But you're right that this is kind of a trope. I mean, Groundhog Day did this in the early 90s. And then not much happened with it. But then there was Edge of Tomorrow with Tom Cruise.
Edge of Tomorrow? Isn't that an old soap opera?
There's this movie.
The Edge of Night?
No, that's... what is that?
Or The Edge of Night.
In Search of Tomorrow.
All right.
That's something else. Edge of Tomorrow is Tom Cruise, where they're fighting aliens and he has to relive the same day over and over
I hate
again.
Tom Cruise
There was this movie, and there was also the movie that came out earlier this year, Palm Springs, where it's that same kind of thing.
Well, that's kind of like how it is in Palm Springs. It does seem to be the same day over and over again. Hey, let's go to Cecil's. No, let's go to Zelda's. It's Palm Springs again.
Zelda's. One thing that was kind of different, and they talked about this, is that each day she comes back, she is not totally healthy. Like her body has evidence of internal injuries.
So it's kind of like she's the cat and she's running out of her lives. That was a good twist. That was clever.
Except at the end of the movie, then isn't she going to the morgue anyway? It's like, oh damn, I solved the murder, but I've been so beaten up.
That's right.
I'm at death's door also.
And frankly, don't trust the doctor who wants you to shut the hell up about your affair while his wife is snooping around the halls.
Right. He was not a good dude either.
He was a weirdo. And they threw a red herring by putting the baby mask in his drawer. The baby mask is so big, you would have had to take all the files out of the drawer.
Right. I have to have a dedicated
Don't touch that. That's my
baby
head drawer.
That's how I roll. But again, Not the murderer. I just happen to have a crazy baby head.
I use
mask.
it for
That's how I roll.
Role playing with my wife.
That's exactly right. Oh, sweet Lord. I think that's about it. Anything else? Oh, there was that scene. It was kind of a musical montage where she's like in fast repetition, trying to repeat the same day. Where she's trying to figure out who the killer is. Like she's looking through. There was a scene where she sees her sorority sister Danielle has that black birthday envelope for some reason that's totally unexplained. And she attacks Danielle, and they roll in the street, and they both get run over by a bus or something. And then she scratches Danielle's name off the list of possible suspects. Why? Why would she automatically know Danielle's not the killer, other than she's a dim bulb?
Danielle might be the dumb
bee.
What
the story is. Don't mess with the bee in Department 23 or whatever it is.
Good. So I hope you have something because I'm out, tapped out. Lay it on me.
The director of this movie is named Christopher
Michael Landon. All right, that's nice.
Michael Landon's son.
Is he tiny like a leprechaun?
Michael Landon's
like
son.
His dad?
He wrote a bunch. He's dwarf-like. No, I have no idea. I cannot comment on that. He may be 9 feet tall. I have no idea. He is famously wrote a lot of the Paranormal Activity sequels. Right. That's like his big claim to fame. This is like his first big directing.
I did like the first Paranormal Activity,
but I haven't seen it yet.
It's part of the reason why I don't film myself while I sleep. I'm afraid of what I'll see. I had this Apple Watch. No. Wait a minute.
We got to go back. You were contemplating filming yourself while you're asleep?
Fitbit, not the Apple Watch. That monitors your sleep, and it would be showing me that I'm waking up like 40 times during the night. It's as if I'm bouncing off the bed. So I thought, well, maybe, I adjusted the sensitivity, and it was still showing that I was constantly waking up and down all night long. And the more I tried to track my sleep, the more exhausted I became with worry because my sleep tracker was telling me I'm not sleeping. So then I had the idea, I think I still had a trainer then, that we were going to videotape. But then I really thought about it, and then I was afraid of what I would find. Because then, for sure, you don't know. What if there's a thing crawls out from under the bed and sits on the edge, has sharp teeth or long fingernails? What if something crawls out the closet? What if I'm sleepwalking and dance on a jig? We don't know. We don't want to know.
We don't want to know. There's certain questions we don't want the answers to. It's like dreamscape.
So I never did film myself sleeping because of that. It's probably a wise. Probably I got rid of the Fitbit.
Thank Jesus.
Suddenly I slept much better.
Moving on. The actress who plays Danielle, her name is Rachel Matthews. She is Michael Landon's granddaughter. She is actually Christopher Landon's
all in
niece.
The family then.
So there you go. It's a whole. It is basically Highway to Heaven.
Or Highway to Hell,
is basically what we're doing. Call it. Highway to Hell. Evidently, it's not like you have a foot-long line was improvised by the actress. So that's a good one. Originally, this movie was going to be directed by Michael Bay about 10 years ago. Yeah, which is why it was going to star Megan Fox. And that's why it was called Bayfield University.
But you said Megan Fox. Who's Megan Fox? From Fox News?
From Fox News. Named after her. She's the heir of the Fox fortune. No. She was in the Transformers movies. She was in... and then she's an actress. She's married to Brian Austin Green.
Whose name was Megan, who was on Fox News. I want to see it with Megan Kelly. And
that'll be a very different movie. That is
Robert Rodriguez, the director. How about that?
Where do I
There
sign?
has to be a
Count me in.
cameo from what's his face to add the Groundhog Day. Maybe like an Alfred Hitchcock kind of cameo, like he's walking to get on the bus.
Perfect.
Boom.
Perfect. The baby killer costume was designed by the same guy who designed the Scream Ghostface
I believe it.
costume from there's a scene during that a musical montage where Tree just spontaneously decides to walk naked across the quad, waving at people and smiling. Because you don't giza. It served no other purpose. Evidently, even though this is a PG-13 movie and you see nothing but her bare back, she actually was naked. And they did it just for their own entertainment. And they had to clear the quad. They had to clear the quad of this school, which is a real school, while they were doing it. And she described it as liberating, the actress.
Whatever.
Interesting.
Whatever you got to tell yourself to get through it. I understand, sweetheart. I'm sure you were thinking this was going to be the breakthrough.
Christopher. I mean, it was very successful.
She was not a bad actress. She was fine. You know who she is? She's
not at all.
The fake
she kind of
girl from all those Pitch Perfect movies. Not as tiny. Isn't she a fake Anna Kendrick?
I couldn't tell. She looked like somebody. I couldn't tell if she looked like a young Jamie Lee Curtis, like her face, or a young Gillian Anderson. I mean, it was like something about her face was reminiscent of another more successul, more established actress.
Anna Kendrick, I think, is 3'2" and weighs about 75 pounds. But if you could make her a little bit bigger and then add a sprinkling of who else is this chick? Of Amanda Peet, add a sprinkling of Amanda Peet, maybe.
I don't see it. I think you're out of your GD mind. It's madness. Christopher Landon was testing out the baby mask when they were trying to decide what the killer should wear. And he scared a coworker. And that said, okay.
I mean, it's freaky.
He put it on and kind of jumped out.
For sure, it's freaky.
So he said, okay. It is. Original script was a hard R with grislier death depictions than what wound up in this PG-13 movie.
It's good. It's not graphic. It's entertaining. It's fun. It's like a fun little horror movie.
It is. It's fun. It's fun. I don't think it's the it ain't The Exorcist or anything. I wasn't like terrified. I find that in this day and age, I don't really find like, movie killers like Jason or Michael Myers scary in these kind of movies. And this was definitely that kind of thing. The silent mask-wearing killer with a butcher knife. So they never explain what's causing this. Although in the sequel, they do kind of explain. Evidently on campus, there's some kind of experiment going on, and it resulted in like a alternate dimension.
Yeah.
So, there you go. Good times. Originally titled Half to Death.
No, I don't like it. And you know what I thought was
life.
weird is she hates her birthday, but all her ringtones are birthday.
Well, no, her roommate changed the phone, the ringer on her phone. She said, like if you're plotting her death, why are you doing something so jaunty as to put like a
because she knows
it's
a bad and upsetting day for her, so it must be a FU. But why wouldn't you change it? You see what I'm saying? Why wouldn't she change it?
Because of that.
Indeed, they are my friend.
Questions. This is only the third slasher film to ever receive a PG-13 rating. All the rest of them are hard R's. So there you go.
I liked it, and I don't like slashers.
That's it.
So
you want to talk about?
It was just interesting.
Well, yeah, it's not grisly, like they say. It's not gruesome.
It's clever. I mean,
it's
until the
a
end,
mystery. It adds that. Yeah. The dialogue was funny.
Entertaining.
I thought it made me laugh multiple times.
I had terrible
For
expectations.
sure.
I thought this was going to be like April Fool's Day. I'm like, what other shit is Kevin going to drag out of the shoot that used to be Blockbuster?
Whoa! How dare you? I'm looking at the cast, honestly. I mean, I can go over a few of them, but they're not people that I'm even remotely familiar with. Jessica Roth played Tree Glebman. She was in this. She was in La La Land as Alexis.
What did you think about La La Land?
I need to go back and watch it.
I was incredibly bored for the first hour and then sad for the second hour. And then I never watched it again because I couldn't be bothered.
Right. Well, it's a movie designed
whatever.
You know, and if you like the songs, then you're in heaven.
I'm in the ambivalent side of the street.
For sure. Carter was played by Israel Broussard, who was in the Bling Ring
Is
Extinction.
that a thing?
I'm not familiar.
Is that direct to video?
You know, don't you?
Is that? Do they have direct to video?
I mean, do I need to go through any more of these people?
Direct to Hallmark?
Could be. It's now like direct to home.
It's
home. I don't know, what do they call it?
It's on one of those
direct to
lesser
streaming,
like Vudu or P-Pop or whatever. All these weird
who the hell knows?
Streaming channels where they're free and you don't know how they're making money, but it's only like old episodes of Barnaby Jones.
Barnaby Jones. Let's do our ratings. Happy Death Day has a 71% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes. I think that's probably, maybe I'd give it a little higher, but not.
It's fine. I'm going to give it 4
what are
out
your
of
thoughts?
5 $5 foot longs.
I will give it 4 out of 5 Nutter Butters. So there you go. Good times had by all. So go to our page. Go to our page on Facebook at The Podcast That Wouldn't Die. Go to our page on Twitter at TPodcast, Email us at thepodcastthatwouldn't_die@gmail.com. We are on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, etc., etc., etc. Aaron, you're on social media. What's the word?
Of Aaron. The Cult of Aaron. That is on.
And that's on
the Insta. That is on the Twitski. And it's on TikTok.
That's on TikTok,
it's on,
Snapchat, Grindr. It's on everything you might want. Any possible social
never
media,
know where
you
I'll
can find
be.
her there. So it's true. Much like the babyface killer in this movie. So there you have it. Thank you very much, and be well.
Get sucked into the QAnon. It's lies, people. Lies. Don't be stupid.